Hey, there we are, live on the air. How about if we play some music and record a podcast?
Why not?
All right.
Do a podcast.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Ah, merci. Bienvenue dans Caching in the Northwest, le seul podcast de ligne de naissance du geocaching dans the Grand Pacific Northwest. Or, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. It's the only podcast from the birthplace of geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So, while you're fixing wind damage on your roof, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
And that means it's time to bring in our bodacious baboon. Some say he has a face for radio and a body for medical colleges. But others say his hair has more curls than my bicep workout. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hey, guys. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, the curls is completely accurate because I have no bicep workout. So any curls is more than that.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, you know what? Not only am I not pleased to be here with my good friends, Jim and Chris, but I have another friend here with us tonight. It's Marcy from Gold Country. Marcy, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, and thank you for having me.
Fantastic. We're looking forward to talking to you about Gold Country shortly. But before we do that, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And if you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link over there on the cachingNW.com website.
Wherever that may be. It could be up, could be down, right, left. It could be to the northwest of what you're watching now.
It probably is.
Yeah.
You know what? Another thing we'd love to do each and every week is we like to glow. Now, we're not talking about our perfect skin. No, we're talking about the geocaching log of the week. Whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com. Now, you can get on your smartphone, record in the audio recorder, send that message via email to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call in to 253-693-TFTC or use the voicemail tool right there on the website and show us how you glow.
And tonight's glow is from, drum roll, Gold Country.
Woo!
How appropriate is that? This is from the birth of Logan Lake. And the log reads, "Thanks, Gold Country, for the cash and the stickers. Came to Logan Lake for the weekend with K-Mom64 to do some exploring and caching in the area. What an amazing small town with all the outdoor activities and sightseeing for people coming to your area. Stunning campground that the village has on the lake. We'll be back with the trailer in the spring."
There you go. See, the glow doesn't have to be an epic length. It can be concise, but still tells a great story.
And it inspires me to go visit the lake.
There you go. Logan Lake. Yep. Nice little community. One thing that you need to know if you're heading up to Logan Lake is don't expect any fast food.
Okay.
I think there's a story there. I don't know if we want to go into it or we just want to leave it hanging and move on. Let's do that. Let's just leave it hanging. Oh, stay tuned next week when we conclude the story of fast food in Logan Lake.
No fast food in Logan Lake.
Oh.
When last we joined our heroes in Logan Lake,
they were still waiting at the fast food restaurant.
Probably go to the salad.
No, the parfait.
Or a parfait.
Or a parfait.
Oh, hey, you know Limax. You
Yeah.
probably heard about Limax. Limax likes numbers.
He does.
Limax sent us some facts about the number 2019, which happens to be this current year. Guys, if you're just listening now, it's 2019. Start changing. Well, who uses checks anymore? I was going to say, make sure you put the right date on your checks.
Does that mean it's the year of the monkey? Again?
It's always the year of the monkey
That's
when
what
Land Monkey's here.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Limax says Limax gave us a post from another site that says 2019 is the smallest number that can be written in 6 ways as the sum of the squares of 3 prime. Do you want me to give you an example?
Could you
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7 squared plus 11 squared plus 43 squared is obviously 2019.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I
Okay.
was expecting you to say 7 squared and 17 squared and 41 squared.
Ah.
I thought you were going to say 13 squared plus 13 squared plus 41 squared.
That's a good one too.
You are fond of 13s.
I am.
You know, I think you're both wrong though, because I think the answer, or at least I thought it was 11 squared plus 23 squared plus 37 squared equals 2019.
Well, 37 fits, but if you use 17 and 19, it works.
Oh, okay.
You don't need any of those if you go 23 squared plus 23 squared plus 31 squared.
Wow.
Oh,
So,
all right.
and just to let you know, it's still hip to be squared.
Okay.
Okay, Huey.
In 2019, it's still hip to be squared.
Okay.
All right. Hey, what else is happening in 2019? There was some news from HQ.
You know, I think this is Land Monkey inspired. Not as much as Earth Cache Weekend, but from the geocaching.com blog, this year, the Cache In Trash Out, that's CITO, is how it's properly pronounced. Don't listen to anyone else. It's CITO. Those souvenir moments will extend from just 1 week, twice a year, to 2 entire seasons.
Wow.
2 entire seasons.
That's right, Earth-loving geocachers. This year's CITO dates are you ready?
I'm ready.
CITO 2019, Season 1, Friday, March 1st through Friday, May 31st. That's all of March, all of April, all of May.
Now how much would you pay?
Holy
Yeah.
Cetos, Batman.
Exactly. But we're not done yet because
But wait, there's more.
there's more. CITO 2019 Season 2 is September, October, November.
Wow.
I love the fact that we got season 1 and season 2. That's awesome. So like each month is an episode?
Yes, absolutely.
Is
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Stranger things have happened.
I can I can and will take absolutely no credit for this one.
You can and will.
I can and will take no credit.
So it was with earnest feedback from passionate members of the geocaching community, which we brought this dynamic shift, such as in many parts of the world, 1 week within April and September simply wasn't conducive to being outside
Conducive.
Or conducive, yeah.
or conducive.
It could be conductive depending what you're doing outside.
Yeah, you know, yeah, with lightning and such, it could be very
Yeah.
conductive to helping the environment. It's too dark or it's too cold. It's too inhospitable.
Now you sound like my kids.
Yeah.
It's too dark. It's too cold.
I think one of my kids is too dark and the other one's too cold. Anyway,
Third one is just right.
no, they're inhospitable.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, they're not inhospitable. They're just, never mind.
They were treated and released.
Well,
Yeah,
that next paragraph is interesting, though. Up to this time, many German geocachers haven't been able to organize spring CITO events due to it coinciding with bird nesting season and off-limit times for many nature preserves. Not something I would have been aware of. That's interesting. So obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, I am assuming what that means is that they're in their nature preserves and state-managed parks, they actually make the parks off limit during bird nesting season.
There's probably just too many bird watchers out there that can't get in to do anything else.
Interesting. Well, that's cool. So basically what it comes down to is there are, as there always have been, there's 2 CITO souvenirs this year. But instead of only having 1 week to earn each one, you actually have 3 months during which to earn each one, is what I'm understanding, right?
Right. Each season, you can earn a CITO souvenir.
How can you earn
So-
both?
Well, it's simple
Okay.
to
Tell me.
earn the CITO 29 Season 1 and the CITO 2019 Season 2 souvenirs. Attend or host any CITO event during these 2 seasons. Remember, it's only 1 souvenir per season, but attend as many CITOs as you can.
That's right. And I think there's going to be plenty to clean up in the national parks here. So
I was just saying, Wino Seattle made a comment about that in the chat.
Oh, did he? Yeah,
God only knows the Park Service is going to need help cleaning.
absolutely.
And we
Yeah.
talked about that last week. And yeah, my goodness, I'm
Just FYI, Mount Rainier National
Premium.
Park is closed.
Premium member is at the $25 level.
Hello.
Okay.
Mount Rainier National Park is closed because they're already getting snow up there and they don't have the staff to clear it. So they've just went ahead and closed the park for the season.
I heard that the last thing I heard about Rainier is that the lodge, which normally stays open, was the last place staying open, and the staff at the lodge finally said, "You know what, we're done."
I think it's Longmire, but
Is that Longmire? Okay,
it might be. Could be wrong about that. Anyway,
cool. All right.
well,
Well,
enough about national parks and Mount Rainier and all. Tonight, we're heading off to one of our favorite places, Gold Country.
Yay.
And we've got Marcy with us to talk about it. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks again for having me.
we are absolutely delighted to have you on the show. I think this is your first time on the show, isn't it, Marcy?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So for those who are keeping score, it is not the first time Gold Country has been represented on the podcast, but is definitely the first time Marcy is representing Gold Country. And since some of our listeners may not have had the pleasure of meeting you yet, could you perhaps share a little bit with us and our listeners about what you do with Gold Country and maybe where home is for you and any other background info you are comfortable with sharing on the internet?
Great. Well, thanks a lot. I actually share quite a bit on the internet. I tend to blog quite a bit. But anyway, I'm actually from the Gold Country area originally. I was born in Ashcroft and raised up in the Highland Valley area. I lived in the Okanagan for 20 years, and then I moved back here to Cache Creek in 2011. And it was at that time that I needed something to do with my daughter, who was 6 at the time. And we decided to try this thing called geocaching. And we bought the book down at the Ashcroft Bakery, and we headed off to do some geocaches before I had a GPS. And we were heading to Gold Pan Provincial Park. And I was wondering who had created this book. It was just so incredible. The stories that were in it, the scenery that you see, it was just so well put together. So when I got back home, I went on Google and did a search. And lo and behold, found out that Gold Country was hiring. So I applied and I got hired. And a couple months later, we found out we got the funding for phase 2. And I applied for the program coordinator position, which I was hired for. And we put the book together for phase 2. I went on from there in 2015. As many may know, we had a massive flood here in Cache Creek. And I was hired by the village of Cache Creek at that time. And just this spring, the COO here in Gold Country moved on to a new position, a very exciting position. So I applied to be the executive director, and I was hired here. So I've been working here since July, worked with an incredible board of directors, and helped run the office and destination marketing for Gold Country. So we do a number of events as well too. We're currently booking a tourism symposium. We currently have the Random Act of Kindness going on. We do a fam tour, and we also produce visitor guides, trail guides, and of course, you know, the famous geo tour.
Cool.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, fam tour. I'm not familiar with that. I assume it's families.
Actually, what the fam tour is, it's a familiarization tour.
Oh,
So
okay.
we bring in people that run visitor centers, museums, other board members, and other people from the public as well too can attend. And we take them on a tour of certain areas of Gold Country, and we'll have a certain community picked out, and we showcase things that are going on in that community. That way, when they go back to their visitor centers and they have tourists coming in, they're more able to let them know what there is to see and do.
Nice.
Mhm.
Marcy, we've got a comment in the chat from GSM times 2 that says, so doing all that, you still have time to go out geocaching?
Yes, I do. That's what the weekends are for.
Oh, there you go.
He also commented, congratulations on the new job.
Oh, thank you. That's excellent.
So longtime listeners may be familiar with the Gold Country Geo Tour, but perhaps not all of our listeners are because we're getting new listeners all the time. Could you give a brief overview of the Geo Tour? You know, like the number of caches, that general area covered, the prizes and rewards, because those are really cool, and even those ultra cool guidebooks.
Yes, we have some pretty ultra cool guidebooks. So currently we have 150 geocaches in our Geo Tour. And our Geo Tour is located in the region of Gold Country, which extends from 70 Mile North BC and then down to Kanaka Bar. It also includes Lytton, Lillooet, Spence's Bridge, Merritt, Quilchena, Logan Lake, Savannah, Ashcroft, and Cache Creek. These areas also include the Thompson Nicola areas, and that's areas E, I, J, M, and N. Currently, we have 2 guidebooks, and I also just want to point out that they are in French and German as well. We have phase 1 and phase 2, and in those books, there are sticker sheets. This one's mine, and you can see I've got a little ways to go, but this is my 3rd sticker sheet, so that means I'm on my way to earning the last prize. So you fill up your sticker sheets with 24 different stickers that you find in the geocaches. And once you're done, you put your address on there, you send it in to us, and we send you a souvenir trackable golden bar. Golden bar, not gold bar, it's a golden bar. It's pretty cool.
It's a real gold bar.
Let's not start that rumor.
No.
As fun as that would be, it would be a little pricey.
Marcy,
But anyway, once you fill up you get 3 sticker sheets. Like if you fill up one of your books, because there's spaces in these books for your stickers as well too. So you're going to want to collect one for your sticker book and one for this sheet, right? Every cache out there that we have of Gold Country has the stickers in it. If the stickers are missing, because that can happen, because they get pretty popular in the summertime, you write the code that you'll find on the container. And that will do as well too. And you can also put it on your sticker sheet.
Fair enough.
We do get calls quite often and emails asking, oh, hey, can you send us a sticker? And no, unfortunately, we don't do that. But again, you can get the code off of the container as well.
That would save me a lot of time. You could just send me all the stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a legitimate thing because our stickers are pretty cool. They have some really neat pictures on them too. And sometimes they're in places where it's really hard to get to. But it's always encouraging to go back.
There you go. Hey, Marcy, we had a question from GSM Times 2, who is from Southern California and made a really great comment. Said he's actually not even sure where Gold Country itself is. So relative to maybe Seattle, Vancouver, like major landmarks people can think of, because you did name a lot of the communities. And of course, for those of us who don't know,
so
how would you say it? Yeah, how would you say it's
a lot of people are familiar where Vancouver is. So we're about 3 hours north of Vancouver. So you're heading towards, you're going along to Alaska. We're kind of right in the central interior of BC.
There you go.
And we are about 9,000 square miles.
Right. So I would say if you're looking at Google Maps or something, trying to figure out where this is, just type in Merritt, BC, or Cache Creek, BC, and that's going to sort of put you almost right in the middle of Gold Country.
Can we see that map there at all very well?
There you go.
There we go.
And how appropriate is it to be called Cache Creek after all, right?
I know. There's a story about that too.
Well, we have had the pleasure of visiting Gold Country, although I have but found a small fraction of the caches in Gold Country. My northernmost cache ever found is a Gold Country cache up at Spence's Bridge. So we've had a good time up there, but you mentioned the area there. How many communities are there up there? Spence's Bridge is one of them you mentioned, and many others.
Yeah, there are many others. Again, we have 70 Mile House, Clinton, Lillooet, Lytton, Kanaka Bar, Spence's Bridge, Merritt, Quilchena, Logan Lake, Savannah, Ashcroft, and Cache Creek.
Wow.
So there's quite a few communities, and we are rural communities. We have the city of Merritt, which is our biggest community, and then we have the district of Logan Lake and district of Lillooet as well, too. That is in there, and then the rest are villages or just very small communities. So a lot of history in our area for sure.
I geeked out when we drove the Coquihalla Highway because I watched a tow truck TV show, but
oh, yes.
up towards that way.
Yes, and sometimes they're in the Fraser Canyon as well too.
Yes, absolutely. Very cool. So we're talking obviously about the Geo Tour, and I have to share that even not too long ago, I've seen people post questions on the internet and elsewhere asking if they can complete the Gold Country Geo Tour in a weekend or maybe a week. My advice has been probably not. However, Marcy, if someone's visiting from out of town and they only have maybe 3 to 5 days in which to explore Gold Country, where would you suggest that they focus on to maximize their Gold Country Geo Tour experience, since they're not going to be able to find all 150 caches in that amount of time?
Right.
Should they even bother starting to try? What should they do?
Of course, they should start. It is easy to fill one sticker sheet, as I showed you, with 24. You can combine stickers from both books into one page. And the thing about our communities are, too, that they are fairly close by. There are a lot of geocaches in there, too. The other thing is our geocaching books are free. So any of the visitor centers carry them, and some of the stores as well, too. So that's a really good incentive to come down as well, too. Where to start? That is a tough question because I have so many favorites. My favorite community is all of them. Everyone has
Very
everyone
diplomatic.
has so many unique features to it. It's just incredible. Like, I love going to Green Lake for a week and staying in 70 Mile. I do a lot of camping, and whether it's in, with a tent or a trailer, it doesn't matter. We go to Steelhead Park quite a bit in Savannah area. I've gone pretty much all over Gold Country and done a lot of traveling. And as for the geocaches as well too, when you start doing a few, and that's how I started with it, I did two. And then I wanted to fill that sticker sheet. And then I wanted to fill another one. And now I'm working on my third one to get my final prize for that one. And I only have a couple more left of phase 2 to do too. But the scenery is just absolutely incredible. When we were putting the books together, phase 2, for example, we were looking at our Gold Country map, and one of the board members came in, Robin Fennell, and he said, I need a geocache right here in Area E. And he goes, Cougar Point. And I said, well, what's Cougar Point? He goes, well, it's where the cougars stop and point at each other. And, well, that's really not true. But when you get to Cougar Point, it is just amazing. The view there is just spectacular. You see the Fraser River in a whole new light. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's quite a drive to get there too.
It is, but you're going right through all these very rustic places. You're seeing ranches and farms that have been there for over 100 years, and they're still going strong. And then we've got a number of really eclectic, beautiful guest ranches and resorts, and one of them is in that area, and that's Echo Valley Ranch. Just absolutely breathtaking. So you never know what you're going to see when you go geocaching. Never mind all the wildlife as well too, including maybe a land monkey once in a while.
Wild land monkey.
Wild land monkey.
Yes. Feral. Actually, I prefer the word feral.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so our communities are so affordable as well too. The one thing I always tell people when we do trade shows down in Vancouver, that sort of thing, we don't have parking fees. We have a few of our communities might actually have stoplights, but basically when you come here, it's so affordable. And yes, the community of Logan Lake may not have fast food, but they have some very incredible restaurants. And their scenery there is just breathtaking. They've got one of the top, as that one geocacher mentioned, just a gorgeous, gorgeous campground. And it's right beside a golf course as well.
Absolutely. And I was giving you a hard time about the fast food thing, Marcy, but
I know you weren't.
the story that was from our very first trip up into Gold Country. And we had come out of Merritt, and it was getting into evening, and we thought, well, we can push on to this town called Logan Lake, and we'll find something to grab to eat there. And it was midweek, so the great restaurants were all closed by the time we got there. So you got to keep in mind that when you're coming up to Gold Country and you're going to these beautiful little communities, they are small communities, and so the hours of things are not going to be like big city hours, except for maybe Merritt. And Kamloops, but I don't. Is Kamloops considered part of Gold Country?
No, it's on the outskirts of Gold Country.
They're on the outskirts. Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
That's like silver or bronze country. It's not as good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of partnerships with the people in Kamloops. They're pretty awesome. A lot of them come to our events and things too.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to take the next one?
Nice. Yes. Now, when we were there in summer, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Except for the mosquitoes.
Well, the nice thing is they were limited just to one area.
That's right.
We walked into a curtain of mosquitoes,
Yeah.
grabbed the cash, and ran out.
Yeah.
Is Gold Country and its communities that make it up open for geocachers and visitors year round?
Absolutely, they are. There is so much to see and do here in our communities. Prime tourist season, of course, is May to October, but there's so many other activities going on throughout the year as well too. There's snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, skating, curling, ice fishing. I've seen people go geocaching in their flip-flops, for goodness sakes, in the snow. So, there's a lot of diehard geocachers out there that'll just do anything to get that geocache. And while they're out doing that, there's a lot of other activities as well too. We just heard about an ice climbing festival that's going to be taking place in Lillooet as well. So There's so many unique things. No matter what the season, there's always something to do here.
So if a geocacher brought along their significant other, or as we say, snuggle muggle, and maybe they're not into caching, do you have any specifics that they might enjoy while their partner is out caching in Gold Country?
Absolutely. There is just so many unique features that a lot of our communities have. For example, Ashcroft has these amazing mosaics that are all over, and every so often I'm hearing about another one. There was another one that was just placed on a church in the Mesa, and they're just incredible artwork. Lillooet, there's the Jade Tour, so there's large portions of jade that are set up, and there's little stories about those as well too. A lot of history in that area. There's also the stories of the 23 camels there too. Cache Creek, we have our graffiti theme here, and there's a Graffiti Days event that takes place the second weekend in June. That's pretty incredible to see. Clinton, they have a historic tour. They have lots of antiques and a gallery as well. Big Bar, of course, you got ski trails, Stake Lake ski trails. The city of Merritt has incredible murals that were done by Michelle Lowry, and they are on a lot of the buildings there, and it's just incredible to walk around and just see the artwork. It was done with a lot of partnerships, and she got a lot of students involved as well too. There's also there the Nicola Valley Art Show, and that's in a historic courthouse. Pretty phenomenal. I got to go in there recently, and if you go upstairs, you can actually see some of the jail cells. Quite an old building. There's also farms such as Desert Hills, Horstein's, Hilltop and Spence's Bridge, 3 Bars Farms in Merritt, and Left Field Cider, which has incredible apple cider and pear cider as well. And then in Spence's Bridge, there's a packing house and secret gardens as well. So quite a bit to do, and there's also parks, museums, swimming, lakes, bird watching, shopping. A lot of people like to go shopping or fishing.
All that and geocaching too.
All that and geocaching too, and so much more.
And so much more. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, is that even if you're not into geocaching, there's a lot of great reasons to come up and explore Gold Country for sure. You've named a lot of places that I absolutely love. Horstings was actually, it was Kat who suggested I go, Kat from the Gold Country team, who suggested I go and check out Horstings on a previous trip. And I made the detour there, and I was thankful I did. On a subsequent trip, I pointed it out to Mrs. Land Monkey and said, "We're stopping here, by the way." We always, if we can, we stop by Left Field Cider if our route through Gold Country is going to take us past there, just to see what they're tasting and bring a few home. And Packing House Secret Gardens, guys, that's where we took you for lunch.
Spence's Bridge.
I was going to say, is it a secret garden if you're telling everyone?
We're trying to let the secrets out for more people here.
With places like that to eat, who needs fast food?
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting farm to table food there.
That was awesome.
Straight out of the garden, just fresh. And the tomatoes there are top notch. Some of the best tomatoes.
There you go. Absolutely.
I do love tomatoes.
Before I get to my next question, Marcy, I do want to also point out, you've talked about the guide a couple of times. You've said that it's free, that people can pick it up.
That's right.
There's 2 volumes, right, to the guide?
Right. Yeah. Volume 1 and Volume 2.
And the caches aren't sort of geographically split between volume 1 and volume 2. They do overlay. So if you're going to pick them up, pick up both tour books.
That's right.
The other thing I want to say, and you mentioned this a little bit off the start, and my first experience with Gold Country, when I first picked up a copy of that tour book and I started to flip through, I found it almost more fascinating to sit there and read through the tour book than to go and find the cache. Now, of course, I still love going and finding the cache. But what we end up doing now, Mrs. Monkey and I, is whoever is not driving is reading out about where we're going next and a little bit of history, because it for every single of the 150 caches in the Geo Tour, there is a story, and the story has some sort of really interesting historic tie to the area. So well done on putting those books together, I have to say.
Oh, thank you very much. It definitely was a team effort. We had so many people involved, and I came in on phase 2, and the people that started Gold Country in the beginning, the board of directors at the time, and the people that were working in the office, Heidi Roy, Amy Thacker, Tanya Wong, they had such an incredible team to put that together. So then when Terry and I came along, we were able to build upon that. That foundation was laid already. And it was just successful right off the bat. Just been incredible. And the stories are fascinating. I am a history buff, and I've read this over and over and over. And I still learn things when I'm going out and about. That's why we're looking at something else coming up, which we'll get to in a bit.
Ooh, teaser there.
Teaser.
Keep listening, folks. Don't stop now. All right. So speaking of keeping going, if someone is interested in starting or perhaps resuming their progress on the Gold Country Geo Tour, what resources should they use for planning their trip? What is there something online or whatever? How can they make sure they make the most out of their next visit up to Gold Country?
Absolutely, there is. We do have the visitor guides, but if they go onto our website, which is www.exploregoldcountry.com, our visitor guide is on there, and it also has links to different sections as well too. So you can see, if you can click on the map and you can see what's happening in Ashcroft, where the accommodations are in Ashcroft, Cache Creek, Merritt, Lytton, Logan Lake, and so on. So that's a really good tool to utilize. And then also, of course, we have our printed visitor guides too that you can pick up. And we do have them distributed all over BC at the main visitor centers. And they're also in Alberta and into Washington as well too. Yeah, and then we also have trail guides and maps out as well.
Okay, I'm excited to come back.
Exactly.
So we've established Gold Country is a pretty big area. So and as Len Monkey said, it's let's just be kind and say difficult to find everything in a weekend. Maybe impossible, but I don't want to throw that challenge out there. So if we're planning to come up there, we should probably plan on some meals and accommodations. Do you have any advice on those? And helpful tip here, Keats94 says, fun fact, Lillooet does not have a Tim Hortons. So keep that in mind. How about any discounts for geocachers or something while we're up there?
Well, currently right now, as I've mentioned, our visitor guide and our website are wonderful sources of planning. And again, visit the museums and our visitor centers and talk to the creators. They usually have really good tips on where to go, and the guides are amazing. And some of our communities like Lillooet and Merritt have tourism ambassadors as well too. And they'll meet you and greet you and talk to you about what's going on in the area. Currently with Gold Country, we have a really cool program right now that we're running called Random Acts of Kindness. And up until from now till February 28th, if you happen to be in one of the businesses that are listed on the website, you can have a chance to win a gift certificate and have your purchase partially paid for or paid for. So that's a little bit of incentive there too. There's always something going on. If there's any deals or anything, we try to let you know on our website and through our Facebook pages as well. We have quite a few social media outlets as well too.
Wow, that's incredible. We have a question from the chat from GSM times 2. He says, Ojai, which is in Southern California, has an ordinance that prohibits fast food. Does that also happen up in Gold Country? Or
No,
is it? Okay.
no, it's pretty open. If you come to, well, a lot of the communities do have fast food as well too, and there is a Tim Hortons too. There's a few of them actually.
There's a few. Okay.
Well,
But
that's how I have my directions. You know, that's how my GPS routes me around Canada.
Oh, but there's
Yeah.
so many unique coffee shops too. We do have Tim Hortons, but there's a lot of unique mom and pop type coffee shops too. And
That's okay. You can still use Tim Hortons as the landmark. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
drive past the first 3, turn left at the 4th. Yeah.
Here it's more like where that Chevron used to be.
Yeah,
Then you go
yeah.
here, and then it's down this way. Yeah. Those are for the folks that have been here for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn left at the old Kettle Ranch there, and
Yeah, you remember
Oh,
where
that's-
Ed
that's not
used
there.
to live?
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember he had that old red Ford in his front yard for so many years. Yeah, that's where you want to go. Marcy, do you or your team review any cache logs or other feedback on the Geo Tour?
We do. We're constantly reviewing. We get the emails that come in. We have the geotour at telus.net email that's linked to our geocaching.com website. So we're reviewing them all the time. And if something's broken or needs to be maintained, we send maintenance out to go fix it. Sometimes we'll get a note saying, oh, we're out of stickers. But again, we'll just let them know, hey, the codes are there. And we do maintenance every year for sure on all of them. We check them out and make sure everything's cool with them. As you know, and it's a bit of a conversation in the last year, we've had floods and fires and that sort of thing too. So we've had to send maintenance out a number of times lately for either charcoal stickers or soggy stickers.
Well, for the few Gold Country caches we found, they are well maintained, well hidden.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased with them. I look at it and go, wow, all caches should be like this. But Marcy doesn't look after all the caches, just the Gold Country caches.
Well, yeah, and Marcy has an awesome team, so that's very confident too. I have something here too I wanted to show as well, that we do sometimes throw in path tags into our geocaches as well too. And sometimes there'll be a little contest where there's a special one in there. And sometimes we throw those in ones that you may have been to already. So it always is good to go back and check those ones.
There you go.
Oh,
You never know what's going to be in there.
Okay,
nice.
So you gave us a little teaser earlier, and you know, since there's nobody here but us, can you maybe sneak a little Caching in the Northwest preview of what's in store for 2019 and on, maybe 2020? Share any secret news with us?
I can share some news. Yes, we are currently working on phase 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's in the plans. It's going to happen. We're just getting details together and getting our funding together to go ahead with that too.
Great.
There's still so many amazing spots in Gold Country, and as we alluded to before, it's a large area, and there's still a lot of history to cover, a lot of stories to cover too.
Great.
We have incredible culture and art and history. We are on the Gold Rush Trail. We're on the Hudson Bay Fur Trade Trail. We also have a huge Indigenous culture in our area too, and they have so many stories to share as well.
Will you come back and share with us when it's live and ready to go?
Absolutely.
Great.
I would love to. I'd also love to have you guys come up and visit us too.
I am excited for that opportunity.
That'd be great.
All right.
I just was talking to my wife this evening about, well, you know, we should start to consider where we're doing vacationing this summer. And I was like, you know, we're talking about Gold Country. She goes, oh, I'd like to go up to Gold Country. So maybe we'll take a vacation up there.
That's the last time we all went up there. That's right.
Mm-hmm. She had an excellent time.
Good. Before I get to the next question that I have for you, which is really just to make sure that we get your contact and Gold Country contact info out to everybody, Marcy, I have a question. So we talked about the size, and we've talked about the 2 phases and the 150 caches. and some of these great caches. But some of the caches, as we've sort of alluded to, are tricky to get to. Marcy and I were talking about this a little bit before the show, but Marcy, I'm really curious if somebody is, if they want to come up there and they've read this log about this great cache, and one of the great things about the book as well is if your cache needs 4x4 to access it or a high clearance vehicle, it does say that in the book, which is really helpful. So get the book. It's free. Read the book before you start driving to a cache. But that said, if someone doesn't have a 4x4, but they're working through the geo tour and they get to a point of like, oh man, this sounds like an amazing location up here at the old fire lookout. I want to get up here. What advice would you have to people to try and find a way to get to those more remote gold country caches?
Well, I've been doing that myself too, because there's some that I would like to get to and I've had to get to in the past as well too, that you need a 4x4 for. And that's where attending events is so incredible and meeting other geocachers. And then you find out exactly, like, you'll find a group of people like, oh yeah, we're going to go, for example, Lillooet. There's some hikes there that I want to do, and I'm going to be doing them with friends. So we're going to stay camping in town. We'll go out for dinner, that sort of thing, and then first thing in the morning, head up and do a couple of those geocaches on the hikes, because some of them are a couple of hours. We'll take our camera and take some food with us and just enjoy the day of it. So just getting connected with those events is so important. You mentioned about the Saito, and I'm making sure I pronounce that right, because I've been saying Saito for quite a while. But anyways, those are great places to meet geocachers as well too. And we usually host one here in Cache Creek. I usually, as my geocaching name is Mama Bear 70, I'm very concerned about the environment, that sort of thing. So I always try to put one of those together in the spring. And that, again, that's a great place to meet people. And then going on Facebook, there are so many geocaching sites. There's the BC Geocachers Association. They hold an annual event usually as well too. And get connected. There's groups in Kelowna, Kamloops. We have the Ash Cache Community Cachers as well too. That's a great way to get connected and find out who else is going, and maybe you can share a ride with somebody.
There you go. Give them some gas money and.
Yeah, it's more fun with a group of people. That's how I did Stoyama. I did that with a group of people, and that was just one of the most incredible views and geocaches that I went to. Terry and I did that on a weekend. There was an event there. We went on a hike. I brought my camera. I took a bunch of pictures, and one of them ended up on the front cover of one of our visitor guides.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool. Dora Moore says in the chat, that's how I got to GC1 PY1Z, Cornwall Hills.
Oh,
ride with cachers and a 4x4 truck. One of my all-time favorite caches.
yeah, and I'm sad to say that one's actually fairly close to me, and I still haven't been there yet. That is one of the ones I want to do for sure. I just keep hearing how gorgeous it is up there. There is the lookout up there. I've been hearing, like, in the spring, there's just gorgeous wildflowers up there too. Last year we had quite a bit of snow, so
yeah.
And
it took a while before we could get to some spots last year, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with the fire department here in Cache Creek, and we were a little busy last year and the year before that.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. So Marcy, we have a question from the Land Sharks, and we'll get to that. But first we want to actually just give you the opportunity to provide any contact information. So if cachers have questions or feedback on the Geo Tour, and they weren't able to listen live and get their questions into the chat, how should they contact the Geo Tour?
Okay, so first of all, you can go onto our website, www.exploregoldcountry.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can also get a hold of us by email at info@exploregoldcountry.com or goldcountry@telus.com. Or you can phone at 250-457-6606.
Nice. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for sharing that information. Chris is going to post some of that in the chat for you folks. And while he's doing that, our question that came in from the Land Sharks for you is, with the announcement of phase 3, we're all very excited about that. will cachers have to find all the active caches in phase 1, 2, and 3 to get the souvenir for the Geo Tour?
Well, there's a lot of details that we're still working out, but yes, more than likely they will be.
Like
It'll be consistent with how we've done things before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that would mean though that well, I guess it's too early to say, I suppose, but again, you would continue with the model of every 24 finds you can earn a
Yeah, we're still in discussion about that, how we're going to carry on with that.
Okay.
If we're going to do the stickers or if we're going to do something a little different this time. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's good to have a little bit of change, but we do want to keep consistent with having the high quality caches that we've had before and having the incredible stories as well too. So there will be consistency there, but there also might be a little bit of change up too. So we'll see how that progresses.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great question.
Change isn't always bad.
Oh.
Well, we've had a few comments that we're going to take in the after show, so you're welcome to hang with us in the after show. But right now, we just want to thank you for joining us for the main portion of the show while we wrap up a few details here. Thanks. It's been great having you.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
Nice. And thank you, listeners. And we hope you enjoyed this here episode of Caching in the Northwest. We have more great shows coming. Next week, I know you're excited for this. We're coming up with part 2 of Hitchhiker's Guide to Geocaching. Go back. Here's your opportunity. Go back and listen to episode 1 again. You're going to love it. We're going to go on to episode 2 and more to come in the future. Week after that, that's January 24th, we're talking with Sandra Riches from Adventure Smart. And
then we wrap up January with talking about cache tours, cachetour.no. with TW Larry. And in February, we're starting off with a bang with a special Geo Tour announcement.
It's so special, we can't even tell you what it is yet.
Right. Make sure to join us.
That's right. It is special. Well, if you guys remember when Miss Jen and Gear Guru, wow, I just have a hard time with that cache.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it's not, clearly. When Gear Guru and Miss Jen were on the show just a few episodes ago, they teased that there was a big announcement coming out, and they're coming back to the show. They're getting their very own episode to drop the news hot off the press, and maybe even answer a few questions for you guys. So,
all right, I'm clearing my calendar right now.
There you go. You definitely want to join us on the Feb 7 episode. It's going to be almost as much fun as this episode with Marcy was. All right, guys, I want to take a moment to thank Landsharks, who gave us some great questions and are in the chat tonight. That is Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online or go in person and visit their store in Victoria, British Columbia. They are open 6 days a week except holidays and ship online orders every day. Now, we also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. Of course, Landsharks, Bounce, Limax, Team Squirrel, and WorldCaching.com. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting the show, click that Patreon link wherever it happens to be for you on the CachingNW.com website. And then you will have the punishment of me reading your name just like this. Broncos fan for life, Sprouter, Camp Clan, Tick Magnet, Kev MacD, Subway Mark, Dora Moore, Dune Buddy, Kid Vegas 19, Geo Nav Bros, Wino Seattle, Acrodoc, Billy Robson, Genie, Antaeus, Keats 94, Trexer 0, MC3 Cats, Kennel Barb, M Nerve, Wet Coaster, and Green Words. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of names. So thank you, everybody who supports this show every month. We hugely appreciate your support.
Nice job. Yes. And we do love hearing from everybody, as I'm sure Gold Country loves hearing from geocachers too. So, Marcy, we've covered it several times, but maybe somebody was driving and they've just now pulled over and they got their pen out and they said, how do I get in touch with Gold Country again? One last time, how can people reach out and get in touch with you?
Best way is to go to our website at www.exploregoldcountry.com or email us at goldcountry@telus.net.
Great. And Len Mucky, how can I find you?
Well, definitely very active over on YouTube and Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope. So The best way is to just follow me Twitter, Instagram, Periscope at LandMonkeyGC or over on Facebook. But new episodes have been dropping pretty fast lately. In fact, our last new episode last week features us caching on the edge of Gold Country. We did the Tickless Trail last summer and the Tickless Heritage Trail. And Marcy's nodding her head.
Yeah.
That was an 800 meter ascent on that trail.
Yeah.
I might be up for an 8-meter ascent.
Yeah. But, we're talking about a little bit of history and heritage. We have some pretty cool stuff in that episode. So check that out. If you want to check us out on YouTube, it's LANMONKEY, Land Monkey on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah. Wits End, how do people find you, my friend?
They find me by following Land Monkeys, and then maybe I'll show up riding their coattails because they do all the fun stuff. I'm just Wits End on Twitter, Facebook, geocaching.com, and right here on Thursday night. How about Chris?
Well, I sit in my basement a lot. That's where I am now. Don't come here.
I'm so much cooler online.
Exactly. Oh, look for me on Twitter, Facebook at CachingNW. Instagram is Caching in the Northwest. You know what's better? Head on over to CachingNW.com/hosts. Read our bios. Find all those links we just mentioned and a few secret ones that we don't tell anybody about. But folks, we want to thank you for taking this time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. Call in to excuse me. I know this number, 253-693-TFTC, and leave us a comment, ask us a question, send us a gold bar any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us feedback@CachingNW.com. Also, your support helps keep quality shows coming. If you like this show, please click the Patreon link on the CachingNW.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. This show's produced by Chris Umfenauer and Jay Kennedy, hosted by Jim J. and Jim Paul. Wow. Chris J. and Jim Paulwitz. Jim's in there a couple of times.
This show is brought to you by Tongue-Tied Hosts.
This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2019 by Chris Umfenauer. And I got through that. Now I say stay tuned for Ooh.
Hey, we're in the after show. We made it.
Marcy, the after show is a chance for us to talk with our live listeners who have questions, maybe just have posted something that, hey, is fun to know. If you have to leave, we completely understand. We all have things to do in the evenings. We'll just go for a couple more minutes since it's nearing 10 o'clock already. Wow.
Yeah.
But we do have some things in the after show. Before we get that, I massacred the French at the beginning of the show. That was a tribute. For some reason, we had almost 700 downloads of the podcast on Saturday in France. So, bienvenue.
Yeah.
Welcome, country of France. Your entire country downloaded our podcast on Monday.
They need something to listen to in their yellow vests.
Yeah. And there they go. They just deleted the podcast. Thank you very much. No, it's like about 5. Each episode was downloaded about 5 times.
Wow.
So we picked up some new listeners in France.
Yeah, it's just it's just a spike that seemed odd.
Where I say merci beaucoup.
There you go.
Oh, très bien.
Yeah,
it's about all the French I know. So.
Okay.
Well, if you picked up our book, you'd learn a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah, but pick up the English one. Otherwise, you're going to have a much harder time getting to the caches.
Think of the education you'll have by the time you've found 150 caches. Reading the descriptions in French.
Can Mrs. Land Monkey read the French book while we're driving in the car?
No.
Okay.
She can try.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out on a limb. Well, she technically could.
Yeah.
She won't.
It wouldn't matter. She could, and I wouldn't understand it anyway.
Oh, that's funny. All right. What else do we got? Keats94 had some stuff. He had a hashtag Fatast Gold Country. He said, he said Gold Country Red Rock GC 1V1V4, Japanese internment, the Miyazaki House, GC79 RK6, and Horseshoe Bend Trail GC 3QN7Z are some of the great caches in the west section of Gold Country he has completed. And I would agree. Those are all.
They are spectacular. Yeah. Red Rock is an amazing hike too. You get quite a view from up there.
I haven't done that one yet. That's on my list.
Yeah, that's a good one. Bring lots of water and go early in the day.
Well, we're also thinking of going early-ish in the year, depending upon when the snow clears. So
yeah, it gets quite warm there quickly too. But yeah,
January is early in the year, Jay.
Yeah. Well, that whole Lillooet, that's up in the Lillooet area, right? If I'm thinking the right.
It's really hard to get much earlier in the year than January.
Pretty much, yeah.
I did say once the snow clears, but thanks. Marcy, I was saying that actually Horseshoe Bend and Red Rock are both up in the Lillooet area, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay. And so that area is definitely, it can get pretty dry and warm in the summertime for sure.
It can get pretty hot. It's really important to make sure when you're out hiking or going to any of our geocaches that you're taking plenty of water. The other thing to be aware of as well too, while we're on that discussion, is that there's some places where there's no cell phone service. So you're going to want to make sure that you let people know where you're going. Safety must always come first when you're out geocaching.
No cell coverage. I like it already.
There you go.
Well, and that also means if you're geocaching with your phone, you should probably download those caches before you head out.
That's true. And the other thing you need to be aware of too, especially in the spring in our area, is that there's other trackable bugs out there too that you'll end up picking up.
Yep.
You know, little wood ticks.
Yeah.
I get 1 or 2 or 3 every year.
And you can track those. Oh, that's interesting.
They track you.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, the guys know about a waterfall where there's a whole bunch of bugs that track you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But that's part of the fun, part of the challenge.
Did they tell you that story, Marcy?
No.
Okay. Chris or Jim, you guys tell the story way better than I do. Go ahead.
Jim, it's your turn.
I don't remember the name of the falls. You can help us with that. But we decided to go hike up to find the cache there. And I think the ladies had gone ahead of us because of course they had, because Mr. Land Monkey was filming, as I recall. But we rounded the curve and the ladies had already reached the falls. And as we broke through the underbrush into the clearing, they were running back towards us, waving their arms, going, "Mosquitoes! Mosquitoes!" And there were thousands all right there in that little clearing. And we're like, "Yep, there's the falls. Let's go." So it was gorgeous. We just didn't view the falls very long.
Was that a Gold Country one or a different one?
There wasn't a Gold Country cache there, but it was just outside of Spence's Bridge. When you go along the river, on the other side of the river from the highway, along the railroad tracks, there's an access road.
Yes.
And you can pull over at one point, and there's a little trail, and I can't remember the name of the falls. There's a little
Murray
trail.
Falls.
There you go. Thank you.
We call it Mosquito Falls.
Mosquito Falls. That was it for us. Yeah.
I've hit pockets like that too. You get used to taking mosquito repellents and running.
Yeah, running worked. We had another comment, another hashtag Patas from Keats94. He said he is so happy to hear about phase 3. You have no idea how excited he is. So I think he's looking forward to it.
Sounds that way.
Awesome. I'm looking forward too because I love the events, and I've being away from Gold Country for a couple of years, I miss all the friendly faces and all the geocachers. So I'm looking forward to those events and seeing everybody again too. And I'd like to thank all the geocachers out there for being so supportive of our program and of Gold Country and visiting us. When we had all these trying times with flooding and fires, people still were sending comments and popping in to visit and bringing friends into our communities. And it was so helpful. And we really appreciate everybody. So thanks again, everybody.
There you go. Hey,
geocachers are nice people.
Geocachers are nice people.
Awesome.
Marcy, speaking of the events, Land Sharks had a hashtag Ask Gold Country. They said, could we possibly get some advance notice of any summer events so that they can try and fit it in, as land sharks are coming from over in Victoria?
Oh,
Nice.
absolutely. Yep. Once we know, we'll have it posted for sure.
Awesome. Fantastic. I'm going to go back to Keats. He had another question, and it's, does Gold Country keep track of how many geocoins it gives out to individual cachers?
Absolutely, we do. We keep all the geocaching sticker forms, all the sticker sheets that we have them in binders and we have them all tracked. And we also had spreadsheets too, so we could tell whether somebody had 150 or if they had all the ones that they needed for getting that end prize. So yeah, we do keep track.
Very cool. Chris, do you want to grab the one from MC3 Cats?
Yes, he asks, will GC PB7D, that is P, Papa Bravo 7 Delta, be brought back? It's archived. That's Airport Road.
Oh, we're still looking into that one. The ownership on that property had changed before it had been part of the municipality, and that had changed. So we may need to move that one.
Okay.
So at this point, it's still archived. There are a couple that are in the books that are archived, so that's why it's really important to also go check online just to see if what the comments are and if those geocaches are still available, especially when we've had floods and fires and that sort of thing. We've had a couple of our geocaches end up in the river accidentally, and a couple of fatalities. We had we think a grizzly bear grabbed one in one area. That was a number of years ago, but it just disappeared.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers and
I was
bears.
gonna say, if I encounter a grizzly bear on my way to a geocache, he can have the geocache. No problem. Oh
Well, you do see wildlife. You're coming right into the interior of BC, and we do have quite a bit of wildlife. So that's another thing to be prepared for. Make sure you have your bear spray and your bells, that sort of thing too.
Well, besides mosquitoes, I showed those guys when I brought them up to Gold Country, mountain goats.
Oh yes, there's lots of bighorn sheep, and there are also mountain goats too up in Lillooet area. You do see the actual white mountain goats up there, which is kind of cool. And then some areas you can see moose and many different birds too. So for those that are bird watchers, this is an amazing place to go.
Gold Country is one of the few places in BC I have actually seen the bluebirds. And I don't know what kind of bird. I'm not a birder. I don't know what it's called, but like the bright blue. Sorry, what are they called? Mountain bluebirds?
Mountain bluebirds. Yeah, there's a story of them in phase 2 actually, because there's the Bluebird Trail. There's actually boxes out for them as well too, and they are vivid, just vivid.
That's Logan Lake, right? Because I think that's where I saw them.
Logan Lake area, yeah, and you'll see them around Highland Valley, where my daughter goes riding. They are there as well too. There's quite a few mountain birds as well.
Very cool.
Right now, there's hundreds of cedar waxwing birds in our communities eating all the berries. A lot of berries this year. So.
Nice. Let's see. Keepers of the Cash Flow has a couple of things to say. We have set the goal of getting 500 subscribers for our geocaching vlog this year, so please come check us out. Do that. They put good stuff together there. Nice. And also, the GeoWorm geocaching store is closing. That's based in Calgary, so there's a closeout sale now if you're looking for perhaps maybe some discounting geocaching items.
Nice.
For that person that you realize, oh, I didn't get them a Christmas gift and I'm going to see them next week.
There you go. Hey, Jim, you were just sharing a photo on your screen share a moment ago.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my little memories of the Gold Country there. I don't remember.
Oh.
Yeah, that was near Spence's Bridge, I believe.
That's in Spence's Bridge, yes.
Yeah.
Cute little church.
It was.
Yeah. You'll see quite a few of those historic churches in our area. Did you get up Heist?
That was followed up with this sign,
Oh, yeah.
Well, that kind of balances things out.
That's awesome.
Oh,
nice.
Keats94 had another good point. He just dropped it into the chat. Is watch out for cacti while you're in Gold Country.
Yes.
You're in the high desert, and even just a hair step off a trail, there's pretty spiny cacti.
Yeah.
So I have a little geocaching story that takes place in Spence's Bridge, and one of my favorite stories is towards Hilltop Gardens, and it's about there was a house that was there. Unfortunately, it's burnt down, but the story there is very incredible about the family that lived there and the history of it. But I went there with my 7-year-old daughter, and she's walking, and all of a sudden she goes, "That cactus jumped out and bit me!" And they do; they'll kind of launch off if you brush against them.
Mm-hmm.
But the amazing thing about those cactuses, if you see them in the spring, they have incredible yellow and peach pink waxy flowers. They're just beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they are absolutely.
Lion Shark says, especially watch cacti with dogs.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 When we had Jasper and we would go up to Gold Country, we would not let him out in certain areas just because you can't keep him 100% out of the cacti, right? So it's
Yeah.
just not worth it. You don't want to. You don't
You
want to.
didn't have the anti-cactus armor?
Yeah. No, I didn't make that in particular investment.
Oh, well, it's totally worth it.
Probably if you're the dog. Yeah,
Yeah. But for people, good hiking boots is good.
exactly.
Oh, IHAM says, in my YouTube feed up next, says how to recover gold from computer scrap. Must be riffing off the Gold Country title of this episode.
And his computer background.
There you go.
Ooh.
That's awesome. All right. Well, why don't we wrap it up? It's been a fantastic episode. It's been a great after show here. We've gone through all kinds of different stuff and got a little bit more insight into geocaching and visiting up into Gold Country. And Marcy, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I've learned a ton more about Gold Country and excited about our trips coming up this spring.
Great. Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to seeing you guys.
Thank you, Marcy. And
Thank
good
you.
night, all. Until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.